Hello, this is George, and I'm going to show you how to debug with Rust in Visual Studio Code. So the first thing we're going to want to do is navigate to the directory that we want to make the Rust project in. I'm going to choose Project 2, and I'm going to go ahead and open this folder in a new terminal because I want this project folder to be in here. Now, I'm assuming you have Rust installed already. I'm going to go ahead and type in cargo, new, and then for the project name, I'm just going to name it project. Okay, let's see what happens. As you can see, it created a project, and over here you can see that a new folder has been made, and there are files in there. Let's go ahead and navigate into that folder from the terminal with cd and project. Okay, and let's do a little ls command just to make sure everything's in there, and everything is. Cool. So now what I want to do is I'm going to open up this main.rs file inside the source folder. That's going to be our main Rust file, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to replace that with my code that I made before, okay? Nothing fancy, just to show some cool stuff you can do with Rust. Okay, so let's go ahead and make this go down a little bit. And we have some code here. Doesn't matter too much right now. All that matters is setting it up. So what I'm going to want to do now is right now I'm located in the root directory of the project. And in order to debug, we need to make a debug file to link to later, okay? Just trust me. So what we're going to want to do is type in cargo build -b, and it's going to start making all these files in the relative project directory. You can see target, debug, a whole bunch of stuff. Now, if we go inside target and debug, this file is what we want, okay? So what I'm going to do is right-click project and copy relative path. We're going to need that later to set up the debugger in Visual Studio Code, okay? And then we're going to go into the debug area, click on that, and then we're going to click on the little gear icon. It might make a file for you. I already have one, so it's going to open my launch.json file, but just do what it says. And then your file will look similar to this, except without this part, okay? And what you're going to want to do is copy what you see here, all right? And I'm going to replace, or you should replace this part right here, okay, with whatever's in your clipboard. So for me, it's this area, okay? So this is the rest of the file path for the debug file that I want. And I named the name this just let's have fun, because this is kind of fun, right? Okay, you can name it whatever you want. Let's do Rust is fun. That's a little more fun. Okay, so after you're done with that, you should see a little drop down menu here, and depending on how many configurations you have, you just have to search for Rust have fun. Or, oh, I should say Rust is fun. That doesn't make any sense. Rust is fun. Okay. Okay, so now that we're done with that, let's go ahead and play. Okay, and if all goes well, you should look at your debug console, and you can see all the outputs that you should see here from this program that I have, or depending on whatever program you have as well. Okay. Now, let me show you the debug portion of this video. So now that we have it all up and running, everything's working fine, I have this file main.rust or rs, and I have these lines of code here. And what if I change them? What if I put them over here? Let's see what happens if we run it again. Just a simple test. Let's see the debug console. Well, that's kind of weird. I just changed the file, I saved it, and I'm getting the same output as I did before, but this 40, 41, 42 should go after hello world and 1, as you can see here. Well, what's happening is it's still linked to that old debug file, and we have not built another debug file. So if you want to debug with the latest changes, you have to use that command again, cargo build-v. There might be a way of making a task to automate this process, but now if we run the program, the debug file, we do get the correct output. Hello world 1, 40, 41, 42. Awesome. Okay. Now let's go ahead and check out this debug feature of Visual Studio Code with Rust, okay? This should be similar to all other programming languages that VS Code supports for debugging, okay? So let's go ahead and make some breakpoints. Let's stop right here. Let's stop in the middle of this function. Let's stop in the middle of this function. And that should be good for now. So let's go ahead and press play. And we've stopped here. We're in the main function. As you can tell from the call stack down here, it says project. That's the file. And main is the subroutine. Okay, we're in it right now. We're in the middle of it. We're not done with it yet. So we stopped here. And then let's go ahead and see these options up here. So whenever you press play, you have all these options here. You have stop, restart, step out, step into, step over, and continue. To continue to the next breakpoint, hence the name, you press this button, continue. Okay. And then now, what's going on here? We went down, printed out 1, as you can tell from the bottom here, right? Because the first array element is 1, index 0, right? And then it goes to this statement. This example 1 passes in the value 40 for this function here. Or the main function passes in 40 for example 1, okay? And then now we're in example 1. Since we're in example 1 subroutine, it gets put onto the top of the stack, as you can tell here. And main is still there because it's not done yet, right? Right now, main is right here. And example 1 is right here at this point in time since we're stopping at that breakpoint, okay? Now let's go ahead and continue again, and as you can tell, this example 1 function calls example 2 with the value 41 because 40, the value got passed in 40, and then it adds 1, so it passes in 41 into example 2. And then now, as you can tell, similar to what happened before, instead of example 1 getting put on top, it's example 2. And example 1 is of course not finished yet because it still has to finish calling example 2 here, okay? And then let's go ahead and continue. Okay. And then we're done. The program's finished, and then all this goes away. It did stop in example 2 for a little bit, I just skipped that. So, now that we know how the breakpoints work and how to look at the call stack, I want to show you one more interesting example of using the breakpoints. So what we can do is click on this side area, and instead of an explicit breakpoint, like it's always going to stop here, I'm going to do a right click and edit this breakpoint. What we can do instead is stop if a condition is met. So in this case, let's make the breakpoint right here instead. So edit breakpoint. And I'm only going to stop here if the greeting string is equivalent to, let's do hello world, exclamation point. So we're guaranteed that it's going to stop because, as you can tell, it is that value. So let's go ahead and press play. And what do you know? It stops just like it's supposed to. Nothing's really changed. It's behaving like a normal breakpoint. But now let's edit this breakpoint. Okay, let's make it a little different. Instead of hello world, let's do hello George, because my name's George. Okay. Now let's stop it. I guess I could have just restarted it, right? But let's do it this way. So I'm gonna run it, and what do you know? It doesn't stop at that breakpoint because greeting is not equal to hello George exclamation point, and it just goes through the whole program. Pretty cool, right? Well, that does it for the basics of debugging in Rust. Hope you enjoyed my little tutorial, and let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. I might have missed a few things as far as the setup goes, but this should give you a rough idea on how to debug Rust in a simple way. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.